but like you're actually living it. Like you actually went from suicidal ideation to internet sensation. Like you're living it. It's not a bullshit story. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Amiri King, how are you, brother?
What's up, man? I'm doing great. Can't complain.
And you are living the dream. For those of you who have lived under a rock, Amiri, comedian, satirist, professional internet troublemaker, that's going to be my favorite acronym for you. Best known for roasting car culture. I would say coining the term Silverado. My favorite is when we talk about those who are confused about genders. But whether we're ranting about terrible women drivers or crazy Asians that can't find their genitalia, this is going to get fun, folks. I'm excited. So, my man, this means the world to me. We are going behind bars, like we just said. That's the last place we either of us ever want to be before, but we've both been there.
Yeah.
And so I think where I want to dive into number one, everybody wants the blueprint from behind bars. My question for you is, how'd you find your voice?
All right. Well, I went to prison for armed robbery. I was tried as an adult at 16. I got out when I was 21, almost 22, I think. I lived on the streets when I was younger. I have a formal fifth grade education, so I'm 100% piece of shit. Grew up in boys' homes, all kinds of shit. So when I got out of prison, um, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I didn't know which direction I wanted to do or nothing. And man, YouTube come out in like 2007, and man, I was dangling. I don't want to go into a whole fucking rabbit hole here, but I was going to kill myself. And so some people know this. I've talked about it before. And so I planned it out. I gave all my possessions away. I gave a brand new weed to some kid that was in a box still to some kid named Cole North. I still remember his name. I gave my flat screen TV to my mom, all my possessions. I gave them all away. So I was 2 weeks away from doing this. I knew how I was going to do it and all that. And so I remember being somewhere and I heard YouTube had just come out. And I remember somebody saying, well, you could be on YouTube today and Jay Leno tonight. And I was like, they weren't saying it to me. I just overheard it. And I was like, what? So here I am, suicidal, it's for reasons, people know. So I was at this girl's house sleeping on her couch. She's at work and she had a computer room. Back then we had a computer room. So I went in there and I typed in youtube.com. And man, I laughed. Back then it was a savage wasteland. The dudes farting into microphones, prank calls. It was wild. I laughed and laughed and laughed until I cried. I couldn't fucking breathe, man. And I'm looking through tears, I'm looking up and I see this button that says create a channel. So I could do this. Why couldn't I do this? I got my mom's little digital camera, little Kodak camera, and
I'm at this fucking water park with my kids. Every 5 fucking seconds, Daddy, watch me do this. Daddy, watch me do that. What the fuck? I don't ask you motherfuckers to watch me pay an electric bill.
Memory card in there. And man, 2 months later, I was the 28th top rated comedian on YouTube. I had a little ribbon on my page. Saved my fucking life. So, and that's where it started. That's, so now I just kept going. And, it took me I started in 2007. I didn't go viral till 2014. So it's some tenacity. When I finally got a million hits, it took a decade and then everything dominoed from there. So it's just, you just can't, dude, you keep throwing shit at the wall, something's going to stick.
I want you to dive into that because from your perspective, the guys are going to resonate with this because it's easy for the big guys to say. It's easy for the Wall Streeters to say that, oh, just keep putting your head down. It's easy for Grant Cardone to say from his stage, but like you're actually living it. Like you actually went from suicidal ideation to internet sensation. Like you're living it. It's not a bullshit story that you're feeding these people trying to get them in your coaching program, right?
No, this is one thing that I've learned. I don't know who the fuck those people are, but I know this: the man at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. And expect nothing when you get out. Expect nothing. You owe society. When I got out, I had a victim mindset where I was like, yeah, the courts put me there. The judge sentenced me, and it took me a while to mature. We're dudes, man. It takes us a second. So eventually, I was kind of like, no, I did this. I did that. I did this. And since then, I've raised fucking, 6 figures for law enforcement every year. I've worked with veterans. I still go every year and I volunteer the hurricanes. I rode out Milton. I flew down the day before, rode it out. I volunteer my time to help people. And man, I feel like until the day I die, I just owe society. Man, I don't know. You got to have a real different mindset than what got you in there. You got to just opposite day it and be like, oh, I'm not the victim no more. I am the one that's going to make people's lives better, even though you just come, you don't have nothing, you know?
Where do you think
Yep.
that came from? Because that accountability that you're talking about, it doesn't come natural, especially, and I say this to a lot of guys behind bars all the time, like when you get out, I don't want to hear your baby mama did this and the judge did that and the district attorney was a whatever. You've got to accept accountability. So where do you think that comes from you specifically to make that
That's a
switch?
great question because I don't fucking know. Because I was a liar in my teens and 20s. I was I mentally abused my first wife, emotionally abused her. I was a pretty good piece of shit. And then I think having a kid and just slowly maturing, but I couldn't pinpoint where that come from. Also, here's one thing that I learned on social media once I'm in the eye, and like, I started in 2007. I was like, I've got, 84,000 followers. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And then I say, what a wicked web we weave when we choose to deceive. And my career can be ended by the next few words out of my mouth. And
Mm,
so I mean what I say what I mean. And sometimes I'll say something on social media and they're like, oh, you're lying. I've lied in my life, but I have never once lied on social media for clout because what's in the dark comes to light. And my biggest fear is being a liar, and being that deer in the headlights. I don't want that. So that's truth what they say, man. The truth will set you free, man. And it's less shit to remember.
it really is. I made a post the other day. I said true wealth in this next generation is being able to fall asleep with no regrets on your pillow at night.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. I've made millions of dollars. I've spent millions of dollars. I've done cool shit. I had limo drivers, at one point. I mean, I've done over a billion views. I do over 2 billion views on Twitter every year. I've done over a billion views across social media on my own content. 320 million on YouTube alone, and nothing of that fucking matters. None of that. There's no check. There's no product. There's no accolade. Like my whole wall's full of these accolades over here. None of that means shit except for laying down at night, knowing I'm right with God. I've got my health. My babies are good. Like you'll realize when you do get at the top of some shit, you know what I mean? How meaningless it all really is. If you're wise enough, I guess. But I know that some of these inmates might think because they came to talk to me when I was in the joint. People come, hey, you can be anything you want to be, man. Just put your head down. Let me tell you this. If some of you guys could fund a $500 a day crack habit, if some of you guys could hustle and scheme and make a grand a day, dude, if you turn that into the legit way, it's way easier for one. There's no downside, and you would be shocked at how capable and dude, I met the most talented people when I was in the joint. People that could ball, people that could draw, do tattoos, sing, some of the most wasted talent. And I'm like, and I don't even have a lot of talent. These guys were way more talented than me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? You could be this, and that. I had to like create my talent. Like all my shit's like manufactured. Some people it's God given. It wasn't me.
You're right about that. I say it all the time. There's so much untapped potential behind prison bars. The
Oh
stuff that
yeah.
I've seen, man, crazy. When you look back, I want to talk about two things you mentioned, God and then your babies, because that impacts a lot of these guys that are inside. They find God inside or they find rock bottom inside. By the way, if I close my eyes long enough and you start singing like you did when you called me, I hear Jelly Roll. Um, but you talked about God openly, and you do. So, like, was that relationship always there for you, or did this come to a point where it was like rock bottom? All right, what am I really doing?
At a very young age, that's all I had was God. I went to my first mental home when I was 8. I've been abandoned. I went to my next mental home when I was 9. My next one I was 11. I was in a fucking pink cell when I was 8 and left in there for hours at a time at a place called Rivendell. When I bring up Rivendell, people go, that know about it, they go, "Oh my God, you were in Rivendell?" I was like, "Yeah, I was 8." And they're like, "Oh my God!" Like, so there's a bunch of horror stories about the place, but I guess I never heard them because I lived them. But nah, man, God was like all I fucking had, man. And throughout the years, like I tell people all the time, they're like, "Do you believe in God?" I'm like, "I've walked with God and got scars to prove it, man." And like, I think a lot of inmates will resonate with that because I think that a lot of them, even right now watching this, their families turn their backs, or their baby mamas, went and moved on, and aside from a couple of inmates you roll with in your car, all you got is God. And I'm telling you, man, dude, I'm tatted up. I've done every drug in the world. I've slept with a million women and 2 million dudes. No, I'm kidding, but uh, I still am not too cool for that. I'm still not too cool to be like, fuck yeah, I believe in God. What are you, crazy? Like, you'd have a lot of explaining to do if there wasn't some sort of intelligent design in this world.
Man, ain't that the truth? I've got my wife and I've been together 16 years. We've got 4 little ones and 1 boy, 3 girls. And so for me, I'm always like hyper focused because like the data shows if you've been to prison, if you have a father that's been to prison, you're X amount more likely to go yourself. So you posted publicly, it's all over your socials, right? You're a dad. So
Yeah.
how how do you take all the negative stuff that you've been through, the 8 years old at the mental hospital, the suicidal ideations, the years, how do you take that and reframe it positively for these guys that are sitting inside who may have a terrible relationship, may have a good relationship with their kids? How do you reframe the shit that we've gone through in order to make it your message, not
Okay.
your mess?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And this is I use it as gasoline. I use it as fuel to fuel my talents. So my
Okay.
comedy and a lot of my joking is like, dude, somebody can come home to my house right now and be like, "Hey man, your cousin died or something." I'm gonna be like, "Oh shit, what happened?" It's always, it's a defense mechanism because I don't like to deal with my own emotions because I've had so much going on. So a lot of these men and women, I don't know what if this is co-ed, what I recommend to do is your trauma and your hurt and your pain and your bad decisions and just what you've been through, use that as fuel into your talents. It's like I was tired of living on the streets. I was tired of going to jail and prison. And it was like I seen this guy, dude, before I went viral for the Silverado shit, I was landscaping for 11 years. I made $10 an hour because I'm a felon. There ain't no good jobs for me. But I remember I was in this neighborhood and this guy, there was these people swimming in the swimming pool. And this girl come out with drinks on a tray and they were laughing and jumping and splashing. And it's a nice neighborhood called Firebrook here in Lexington. And this convertible Lexus passes by going down the road. Got the like visor on, probably going golfing. And I said, "Well, what makes me different from him? What makes me different from them? What makes them better than me?" And dude, I ended up going viral and I put in a pool. And the same landscape company I worked for 11 years, I hired them to come landscape my house and resod it. And I swam the entire fucking time they did it. Same guys I worked with for 11 fucking years. And I felt like I manifested it. I made it happen. It felt great. They hated me.
I like what you said there. I like the manifestation part. How real is that? A lot of these guys are sitting inside. They've heard it from me. I talk about it with like their vision boards. Do you still do that today? I know you're a very simple cat, but are you manifesting
Oh,
this
yeah.
year, next? Okay. What is
Yeah.
that?
No,
What is that?
it's okay.
Professional
So
person?
you got to see it. You got to believe it. You got to think into existence. People might think that shit's crazy, and sometimes God's not going to give you like, "Oh, I want to win the lottery. I want to win the lottery." Well, he might not let you win the lottery, but he might let you get an opportunity to meet somebody that is on the corporate ladder, like they've almost won the lottery. You know what I mean? And give you an opportunity to shampoo their carpets. Clean. When I got started in this game, I shot weddings for free. I did commercials for free. I would go to people on Facebook like, "Oh my God, you have all these beautiful kids. Can I do a slideshow?" Well, I don't have any money. No, it's free because I built that portfolio. So if you want to fucking be successful, if you want to be in the top 1%, you got to be willing to do what the 99% won't. I'll go to McDonald's right now and flip burgers because I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna make $13 at McDonald's every hour instead of making zero on this couch. It's that mindset you gotta have. I'm not above any of that shit. If I walk out of Walmart and some guy walks up to me with a bottle of Windex and a rag and he goes, "Man, will you clean my rims for $20?" Okay, let me think in my head. It's going to take me every bit of 7 minutes. $20. Yeah, give me a 20. And I'm wearing $2,000 Gucci loafers. You know, I've got a fucking Gucci watch. That's why I have that, because I'm not above that. Don't be too cool for Arby's. Don't be too cool for Verizon, whatever. You know, take those opportunities, man, because God will put that in your way. And it's all about networking. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. I promise you.
Man, that's good. Do you think that do you think that $20 bill idea about cleaning someone else's rims, do you think that's work ethic or humility or both?
Both, because there's a lot of people like, man, get the fuck out of here. I ain't no rim cleaning motherfucker. Well, give it to me. I am. Give me that $20 because that $20 that's two Starbucks for my kids and a pack of smokes for me. You know, I ain't above none of that shit. And that you have to have that mindset where you're not above any of that. You know, I've been at red carpet parties with limo service and massage service, hanging out with fucking Logan Paul. And I've also been in a drunk tank with some dude covered in vomit and blood. And these guys are already coming from that place. So the hard part's over. So you're not above none of that shit, and just make sure you're not. And man, I promise you, man, it's about networking. That guy that hires you at McDonald's, your shift manager, he might wind up owning one and say, I need a general manager. You just don't know. Don't sleep on any opportunity.
Yeah, the world definitely becomes super small when you start to network with people. Yeah, for sure. Now, taking a left turn with the little ones, with the kids, how do you take how do you take them and prepare them? They see you, you're a social media star. They're growing up way different than you. Nobody's in a padded pink room.
Right.
How do you navigate that as a dad?
My daughters have watched me sign autographs. I've been booked for Comic-Con probably 3 times. They fly to, if they've been to Disney World, they did Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. The they watch people come up, shake my hands, take pictures with me, have me sign their vehicles. It's wild. And so to put it in perspective, like 6 months ago, I was driving. I had Marcy in my SUV in my Lincoln, and she was having a bad day, and she started crying. She goes, "I hate my life," and I stopped. And I said, I don't think y'all understand. I said, you're that my kids come from a place of tremendous privilege. Kennedy, my oldest, was part of the poverty till she was
You think
probably 7. And we lived in a 1-bedroom duplex. All 3 of my daughters slept in the bedroom. I had the couch. I mean, we were, essentially, I guess, white trash or some shit. And I blew up, and my first thing I did, my daughters always wanted to build a bear. That was
mm,
something that was way off the table. When I got my first check, and I never had $1,000 in my life, but I got my first check, and it was a lot. I went to pack them up in my Silverado. I took them straight to the mall. I took them to Build a Bear. And man, I try not to cry when I say this, but I remember they were jumping up and down when they were holding their bears. And I had to turn around because I cried in the store because I could never do that. You know what I mean? So now it's like, Tilly, I'm about to buy Tilly a car, and Marcy has a fucking motorcycle. They do good. But I had to stop Marcy in her tracks. And I try to tell them every day, I said, when you fucking wake up, the first fucking thing you do, and this goes to anybody that's viewing, is you thank God for another day, man. It's the first thing I do. Man, here I am again, pinch myself. Because, all of us, me, you, them, statistically, we should have been off a long time ago. All of us had 10, 20, 30 dead friends. That could have easily been one of us. But I had to explain to Marcy how her life contrasts with mine. I'm like, dude, you don't know hate your life. That you're way off. So I had to check her. But I have tremendous kids. I really knock on fucking wood because I raised them, and I've raised them very honestly. I am who I am, and they've turned out tremendous. I don't know what the fuck I did.
I think it's authenticity. I think that, it's so funny. I just had another friend, not as big of an audience as you by any stretch, but a good following, and gone away and came back to social media. And it was so interesting. She posted this algorithm, and I know you're not a numbers guy, but she said, when I started this, I wanted to start this for female empowerment, but all of a sudden, 80% of my followers were dudes. And she's like, I just wasn't authentic. And
Women
so
got
she
it
put
easier
herself
than us, brother.
she put herself in a situation where she had to create this lie.
Mm.
And so I think what I love about you, most importantly, is that you are who you are, whether it's on the couch or in the Lincoln or wherever. does that come naturally to you, or did you fall in this facade of a life? Like, I tried to be this. It was bullshit. I couldn't remember it. It was a big lie. Or has it always just been natural for you?
My father was he was a good fellow, a real life good fella. He owned a bunch of businesses in St. Louis, and we lived in a mansion. My dad had bought it from an NFL linebacker. My parents divorced when I was 5, and then me and my mom were poor. But we lived in a big mansion, and my mom was dealing with me, and it was rough. My dad told the story till the day he died. He was his favorite story to tell, and I was being bad. I was being bad. And so my mom called my dad and said, and this, you didn't interrupt Big Al, but she called him. She goes, get home now. She goes, I'm done. She goes, Tony, that's my birthday. She goes, Tony will not mind. And I'm done. She goes, I don't know what else to do. My dad speeds home, comes upstairs. And this is a story that he tells verbatim. He did before he died, but he goes, I looked at you and I said, is there anything you want to tell me before I whoop your ass? And he said, I looked at him and one lone tear come down my cheek. And I said, Dad, all I can do is be myself. And he said, man, he said, that was the right answer. He said, I told you to act like I was whooping you. And he smacked his leg a bunch of times and I got off scot-free. And so from that story, I think it's inherent in me that, and anybody can do it. It's not something you have to be born with. It's just to be yourself, dude. Like I would rather, be in prison with these guys than be in that prison where I couldn't be myself, you know. But authenticity is key. If you gotta lie, don't even say nothing. If somebody's like, hey man, uh, did you bang this girl or whatever those it could be. Don't even fucking say nothing if you're gonna fucking lie because you're gonna get caught and you're gonna be deemed insincere and inauthentic. And there is no better currency than like I've been millionaire and I've been fucking broke. But my authenticity and my sincerity has been a currency with the friends and connections I made because they know, well, Emery ain't gonna lie to you. If he says it, he means it. If he's gonna be there, he's gonna be there. He's gonna keep it real essentially. And so, man, there's no better currency. I can have the most brokest of friends that have nothing to bring to the table. And if all they have is I know they're authentic and they're sincere. That's all I need, man. They don't that's the best offering somebody can have.
I love it, bro. Take these guys, you talked about all sorts of cool stuff that you've experienced in your life. Take these guys out of the cell for a moment, give them a glimpse of what it's been like on top of the mountain. Is it when you look back and you go, man, I've done some really, really cool shit.
I
Tell them a
really
story.
have. So I never
I,
left Kentucky but once to go to Florida. I never left, because where the fuck am I going? I don't have a car. I don't have ticket. I've never been on a plane. And so when I
right.
blew up, I remember like my first check, dude. I mean, it went to a point where I made $10 an hour. I was lucky to make $290 a week, sun up to sundown. I was making $76,000 a month. And I'm like, what the fuck? So when I landscaped, I was a huge Deadliest Catch fan. Oh my God, I watched every episode. One month for Father's Day, I saved up 25 bucks on the side to get myself the Northwestern shirt because Northwestern was my favorite boat. And I used to tell my friends at work, I said, one day I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna hang out with those guys. Motherfucker, they reached out, flew me first class on Alaska Air, and I went to Dutch Harbor. I stayed in the Grand Illusion, and I drank with every one of them motherfuckers. I rang the bell in a bar, bought everyone a shot. I went out on a boat with Wild fucking Bill. I sat in the captain's chair on Northwestern. Like, I believed it. I didn't sit there like, oh, I'm never gonna be anybody and meet them because I'm a felon and I'm been in trouble and no one gives a fuck, man. No one gives a fuck. You know, you should give more of a fuck about yourself. You should be your number one fan. It took me a long time till I was about 35. 35 years old where I could look in the mirror and say, man, I love this guy. I like you. You're a great, like, I'm your fan now. Like, I'm really happy and proud of you. Dude, that's the ultimate. So it's been fucking amazing. So now I've been fucking everywhere. And I can go now. Like, but there one time, Tilly, I said, man, you just want to go to Vegas? She was like 8. And she's like, yeah, I'll go. And I said, bloop, 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 booked it up. We're gone, man. And we're fucking, swimming at the fucking MGM for the rest of the week. Went to Hell's Kitchen and ate. I've been there. They've been there a bunch of times. And just, it's surreal. But yeah, everybody wants that. Sometimes people online, they're like, oh man, you're so lucky. It must be nice. Motherfucker, you act like this fell in my lap. So if you put the work in, and if you're not willing to give up after a year and it's not happening, 3 years it ain't happening, 4, 5, 6, 7. I used to fucking come home after landscaping every day, and I would make a video. I host this website. I'll get on social media and try to, be edgy and try to, and I would look down at my kids, and I'm like, man, I should be on the ground, like rolling around with them and playing with them. And I said, you know what? I'll do it on a private island one day. And I have. I've taken my daughters to private islands. I've taken them out. So, man, you just got to be willing to sacrifice a little bit, put in the work, and don't fucking give up. Don't even start if you're going to give up. Find your goal. You want to be a great chef? All right, stick to it. Don't fucking give up. You want to be an influencer? Be a mechanic. Hell, you want to own a McDonald's? These are in the realm of possibilities. Motherfucker, if I can do it, I'm a fucking orphaned kid, formal fifth grade education. I'm an ex-con, violent armed robbery. I have no civil rights or whatever the fuck. If I can do it, you have no excuse in the fucking world. None.
Love it, bro. It's incredible.
I'm
What's your
incredible.
it really is amazing. I love it. Now that you've seen all of that, and it's fun to talk with you because I agree with you with the contrast. I put this post out the other day, and it was basically I know where I've been because I know I have enough. And
Mhm.
it's hard for people to wrap their minds around, right? Like the conversation you're having with your girls and I'm having with my girls is surreal, right? Like
Mhm.
I would come home and I would tell my wife, just based on where we've been, my dad was a notorious criminal, heroin addict. And so I would look at my wife and she'd say, oh, we're having a tough day because miscommunication with an eight-year-old or whatever. And I'd go, good news, you didn't put a needle in your arm today. Mom of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I could wake up tomorrow and my house could be gone. They could repossess my cars. I could just wake up with nothing. And I wouldn't give two fucks because there's another parent that got a phone call that said their kid's got 6 months to live. And it's like, oh, I won't trade shoes with that person. Like, I was making, all that money on Facebook. I had 2.2 million followers, and I rented out a mansion, a chalet, 3 stories with an indoor pool down in Gatlinburg. And I took a nap and I woke up and I was banned permanently from Facebook. And I was like, dude, the blood drained from my face. I got all my daughters together. I took them in a room and I said, okay, something happened and things aren't going to be the way they used to be. And I was like, I'm going to figure it out. I was like, but we are dad's in trouble financially. You know, I'd lost it all. My entire, like, just getting canned from your job. So I remember I was on the third balcony and I thought, do it, do it. Just throw yourself over. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. So I bought these steaks. I was like, I'm just going to go cook these steaks and get it over with. So I'm outside. I'm cooking these steaks. And I yell in for Marcy. I got them about done. I yell in for Marcy, bring me a plate to put them on. She's like 4 at the time. And she comes outside, hands me a plate, and she looks at me, just the dumbest look on her face. She goes, hey, everything's going to be okay, man. And she turns around and goes back inside. And I was like, well, fuck, it is. I was like, we got our health. What the fuck else do we need? So when you hear about the top of the mountain, you can start there. When you come into this world, you have nothing. You come in naked. I don't give a fuck if you get out of prison and you're homeless and you're sitting at a bus stop and you have on jeans and a hoodie, you're up. You're up. You didn't have the jeans and hoodie when you came into the world. So be thankful for what you got and be like, man, I'm up. All right, now I got to do is, find me you know, a duffel bag to put my shit in, like, and get a garbage bag. Oh, you're up. You didn't come into the world with a garbage bag. You got to keep that mindset.
Freaking love it. How did you recover from the Facebook ban? How did you recover from that? Both personally and professionally. That had to be tough, man.
Bro, I messaged Tom Mabe, comedian Tom Mabe. He used to have the TV show Mabe in America. He's one of my mentors. He's the first one I messaged, and I said, I just lost my Facebook. And he goes, that's the best thing ever happened to you. I knew what he meant because he knew it meant I had to get busy. And so I messaged Milo Yiannopoulos. He's one of my good friends. He ran Yeezy for 4 years.
Oh
He's,
yeah,
yeah, Milo's a good friend of mine. So I messaged Milo and I said, buddy, do you have, he was just canceled. And I said, do you have any opportunities? He goes, I'm trying to create opportunities for myself. I said, I get it. So I'm in this fucking chalet. This is weird you brought that up because I have this little nephew there, this friend of mine, his son. And so I remember like 2 months before, this guy had made me a TikTok. And he was like, I'll just make it. I said, I'm not getting on TikTok. It's fucking, it's just girly, dumb shit. And so he made me one. And so I remembered it, and I was like, well, because the kid was like, well, what else are you on? He's like 8. I said, there's some stupid TikTok, man. I'm stressed and I'm freaking out. He goes, well, how much you getting paid from the Creator Fund? I said, what? Creator Fund. He goes, yeah, they pay you, if you get so many views and stuff. I said, I gave him my phone, and I said, download TikTok. And I said, I knew the login because I told the guy what to use. I said, log in, log in. I said, find this out for me. And he's like, yeah, there's like $114 in there. I said, excuse me? I got on TikTok. I passed 2 million followers in a month making content, all new content, because I was in panic mode. They banned me. So I started another one. I got 1.2 million followers in like 2 weeks. They banned me again. So I did it one more time, and I got 650,000 followers in like a week or two, and they banned me again. And then I was like, fuck. So from there, I don't know what I did, man. I robbed a bank and I robbed a Burger King with a singular error, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know what I did, but I sold some shit. I pulled my resources, and for some reason, knock on wood, I've persevered. But it was scary because, when I bought this house, I had $1 million in the bank. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta still pay for this shit because I'm not $1 million having motherfucker now. So, but anyways, man, I don't know. I just kept the faith and, looked at the bright side always. And I had a slingshot. I let it go back. I think I had another vehicle. I let it go back. Said, fuck it. I'll take the hit on my credit. And just was in panic mode, man. And that's okay because, like I said before we aired, T-Pain said this. This is where I got it from. T-Pain said he was rich. He went up this hill. He was working his ass off. He got rich. He was coasting down the hill, coasting. He's rich. He made it. And he goes, man, one thing he didn't realize: there's another hill ahead. And that is what it is. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be successful, I don't give a fuck if you're flipping burgers at McDonald's and trying to be the best burger flipping motherfucker you can be, or if you want to be a business owner, be ready. When you're going down that hill and you're rocking, you're balling out, you got to get you the watch and the car and all that. There's a hill coming up, another one, and there's going to be many more. So watch for that hill.
I love it. If you could write a letter to your younger self, what would it include?
You're going to make it. It's going to be okay. Man, I spent a lot of my life. I didn't think I'd make it to the age of 18. When I made it to 18, I was in prison, but I was like, wow. Then I was like, well, I won't make it to 21. And people make fun of me sometimes online. They're like, oh, you're thinning up here. You got gray in your beard. Oh, I'm old for good reason, motherfucker. I never thought I'd see this. I'm very happy. I think everybody can resonate with that. We're living fast lives here, man. All y'all locked up. You ain't locked up for living slow, and man, we didn't think we'd make it this far, man. And um, I wish I could just go back in time and tell myself, man, because I was always afraid that it wasn't going to be okay. If I could just say, hey, sit down with myself and look myself in the eye and say, man, hey, it's going to be okay. This is molding you. It's going to make you the personality, you know.
When you look back at all of the roller coasters, as you motioned, ups and the downs and everything, and now you've got a good perspective on what life is. What was success to you when you were, 2007 trying to go viral? And what is success now?
Well, my whole goal was I just wanted to get 1 million hits, and I got them. Took me 10 years. No, 7 years. Sorry, 2007, 2014. So then I said, well, I want 1 million followers. So I put my head to that on Facebook, and I did that within a couple months, which I can't do it now for some reason, but I was very impressed with the way I was. But I did that, and then it was like, okay, now I want a play button on YouTube. It's just milestone after milestone. Then I got burnt out, and that's why I just came back to doing videos and all these offers. Like I got a radio interview after this. I'll probably have to put it off to tomorrow. I just did John Perk, Blaze TV. It's part of it's par for the course, and I don't know, man. It just it has been surreal. And I look at a lot of my work and I'm like, this is the dumbest shit on the planet. And I don't know why anybody would even, I don't know why anybody would watch my shit. I guess you got to be your own worst critic. Nothing's ever good enough.
So what does it look like now? What's that version of success? Because you've already done all those things. So what does it look like now? What is success in 2025, 2026?
I've done it all, man. I just want to retire. I want my kids to be successful. I don't care what they do. I just want them to be good at it. Whether it's like I said, flipping burgers or this and that. That they're not established. I am. My kids, they all work. At the age of 15, it's job time. They pay their own bills. They buy their own shit. Um, but success, man. I just want to live in the desert. So my whole goal is to within the next 5 years retire, go to the desert. I still do this, but I mean retire like I ain't ripping and running all the time, But I just want a swimming pool and a condo, and that I'm done. I'm like I did it. That's success, I guess.
Love it. Love it. No, I can tell when you talk about it because it brings you peace.
Oh yeah, the desert's my piece.
Yeah, I can tell when you talk about it. Like my piece is the beach. Our piece is the beach. Me and my wife, like we manifest, like that's our piece.
Well, it
Yeah, we
was
gotta.
the beach for me, and then I saw the desert. So now I'll fly out to the Mojave or the Sonoran, and dude, I'll land in Vegas. I grab a car, 3 hours north of Death Valley. I'm gone. I'm out there, dude. I got so much, dude. There's a little. Tori found a little red rock. I'm like, that's from the Valley of Fire. I'm like, I know exactly what that is. I steal rocks out of the desert. I got a tin can that I found in the Raleigh Ghost Park, but I get lost in the desert, man. And so that's what I want. A horse named Bucket. I wanna ride my horse with a sombrero, a full fuck off sombrero. I want a bottle of tequila and just cook beans on a pot in the middle of the desert. And that's my fucking. That's it. one hundred
I
percent.
love, bro. You could see it so clearly. It's so crazy to talk to you about it. My wife and I talk about this, like to a T. And you know how when you see people, I don't. We just came back from the gym, so I always talk about the 80-year-old guys at the gym. They are. They'll interrupt you. Hey, how are you today?
Yeah,
Hey, how they're in their New Balances. They got them socks pulled up just below the kneecap. Bro, they're so comfortable. And so
yeah.
I always use as like an example to my wife, like, why do we have to wait till 87 to be that guy? Like, I just want to live life fully. And I think when you get there, you start to do what you just did. Like, no, I want the sombrero. I joke with my wife, like we have a spot in Mexico. That's our retirement beach house. Like, I I'm gonna be the mayor. I'm gonna ride on a bull with a hat down Main Street. I can see it, and I love talking to you because you can see yours.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've always wanted to learn how to ride a bull. I can't figure out how to get one to lay on its back, but it's crossed my mind once or twice. We talking about the same thing. I don't know what we're talking about the same. It's Mexico, right?
A
Now I
little
want
bit, yeah.
Mexican food. You had to bring up Mexico, man.
Man. No, I just love it. I love that you can see it. It's like, and I don't know about you, but when I was locked up, like I told people when people come to me, and I'm nowhere near what you've accomplished, but these guys that come to me, like, how did you get here? How did Forbes write you up? Blah blah blah. I manifested this shit like literally every Sunday with I manifested Life 2.0.
Yeah,
I want to pour that into the guys. Like you have to like taste it. You have to
yeah, yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah. But I don't want them to think too that they can imagine it and it's like, oh, it'll happen. No, you got to be putting the work in too. But you got to, like you said, taste it. It's there. It's there. I'm on my way. And you just tunnel vision to it. And man, you're gonna miss a birthday. You're gonna, oh man, I need to reach out to my best friend a little more. I've been such neglect. Yeah, it's part of it. And sometimes when you look in the mirror, the only face you see is yours, and it's okay because then you bring everybody into the mirror. And it's like, look, so all my friends when I started doing this shit, they would hit me up and they'd be like, "Come on, let's go to the club, man. Let's go hang out at the bar. Come on, let's go out, dude." I turn them all down. I'd be sitting at my computer, editing a video. I worked all day, fucking, 8 in the morning till 6 at night, sun beating me down. I got to work again tomorrow, but I'd turn them down. I'd be stuck in my computer, and now they like, I'll have one of them detail my Mercedes and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it paid off in the end. I'm so glad that I was like, no, I'm not going to go to the club with you because in my mind, I'm like, here in 7 years, I'm going to be at a fucking VIP event in LA hanging out with fucking, Aaron Carter. You know what I mean? Whatever, which is silly, but I wanted things on another level, man. And I knew if I put in the work, I could do it. And, and anybody
You
can. And some people that might be watching this might be like, "Well, I'm 50 or I'm 45. My time's past." No, Rodney Dangerfield didn't make it till he was damn near 60. Like it is never past your time. Get it.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
He was a fucking absolute nobody until 50 something, 58, 59. And and one of the greatest fucking one-liner guys ever, regarded as one of the greatest comedians ever. And if you're already coming with excuses, man, then just stop right there. There is no excuse, none.
I like that. You spoke to turning down some friends as you were changing. I've got friends right now, Mark and Ashley. They're going through. They got sobriety dates. They've turned over their life to God. They're looking at their little kids now, and they've got the friends hitting them up to go to the bar, and they're turning them down, and it's becoming a lonely chapter for them, or they're realizing who's really there for them. Was that the same for you when you started, quote unquote, changing or focusing, I should say? Did you start to turn people down, and they hit you with, "Oh, the must be nice. Amiri's changed."
No, and
Yeah,
you know
no
what?
kidding.
I'm very cliche about it because when I blew up, I don't fuck with nobody. I stopped fucking with any of my old friends, and a couple of them are pretty good. I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, I mean, they didn't deserve to be like, but it was like, man, I was in this fucking lane, and it was like no distractions, and I hate it. But it might sound selfish, but it's like ain't nobody feeding my kids but me. Ain't nobody putting Christmas presents under the tree but me. Ain't nobody buying them school clothes and all this shit. Man, it was like I just put my head down and really, I don't have any fucking friends. Some people have a circle, I have a dot. And I've been fucked over so many times. So when I had $1 million in the bank and I had a limousine out here, this is a good example. My neighbors were all kind of the same age. Oh, they loved me. I bought this family a car. This other guy over here, I paid off his credit debt. Whenever we would go out, they would be the first foot in my limo and the last one out. Oh, I was big, big, big shot, awesome. Everybody loved me. And then, man, they don't ever talk to me no more. They don't. One of my friends over here that was my friend, his dad died. Me and his dad were real close. And I was like, all right, he let me know. I said, man, let me know when the funeral is. Day of the funeral, he's like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, man. I forgot, brother." He called me brother. I said, "Motherfucker, I ain't your brother." I said, "Brothers don't forget to tell them." Like, I wanted to say goodbye to this his dad, like I knew him. So they just all, dude. When you have a lot, be very careful for what people see that you can offer them. And man, let me tell you something. I promise you, man, 95% at least of people are fake and in it for themselves. Because I asked my girlfriend one day, I said, "What the?" I said, "Am I a bad guy?" Like, I started thinking, I was like, I must be the common denominator of all these people don't talk to me no more. And I was so good to them. I said, "Have I done something? Have I said something or carried myself a certain way?" She goes, "Absolutely not." Because she'll tell me the truth. If I look fat in a shirt, she'll be like, "Take it off." Like, we're really honest with each other. And but nah, man, people are fucking fake. So I recommend when you start blowing up or getting big and successful, and definitely don't meet any friends at the top. If you win the Powerball tomorrow, let me tell you something. All those friends you got, they ain't your friends. But man, focus on yourself. It's okay to be a little bit absorbed. It's okay to be in your own fucking lane. Don't let nobody make you feel like that's a bad thing or guilt you for it. You know, I think any motherfucker with some level of moderate and decent success has had to make that decision and sacrifice, friends and acquaintances along the way.
I love it, man. I love it. Um, would it be too much to put you on the spot and take us out with some humor for these guys and gals?
Not at all.
What are you looking at these days that drives you nuts? What are you seeing online? Who are you
Oh,
roasting?
fuck. All right. I'll tell you what I see online that really shits my biscuits is when people respond to something and they say, "Oh, that's a travesty." Okay, like a house burns down. "Oh, what a travesty." That's not what that means. All right. Tragedy and travesty are not the same thing. A travesty is a miscarriage of justice. Casey Anthony, she was found not guilty of murdering her daughter. That's a travesty. All right. January 6th political prisoners. They were victims of lawfare. That's a travesty. That's a miscarriage of justice. Travesty and tragedy are two different words. Don't do that. That's what pisses me off.
Language matters, brother. I love it. Man,
Syntax.
means the world to me that you spent the time with us. So, any last thoughts for the guys and gals behind bars before we sign off?
Man, keep your head up. I know it's easier said than done. Keep yourself busy. Sleep as much as you can. The more you sleep, the less time you got to do. That was always my theory. But keep yourself busy, keep yourself constructive, stay out of trouble, don't get in debt, don't borrow. And then another thing I'll say is if this is resonate with anybody out there, I would love to do another one. But really, if it's like, people are like, all right, he hit home with me. That was great. That was good. And then next time we come on, maybe we can be a little more entertaining and funny, or really lift some spirits or something, and it doesn't have to be so much about me so much or whatever. But so I hope I've resonated with somebody. I've been in prison. It sucks. My number was 132, 229. We never forget our numbers. But I hope the best for y'all. And if anything I said is real, it'll be on your mind tonight before you shut your eyes.
I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, dog.